Well, hello. Brandon here. One of the things that I often do is I get to the point that I plan to fish the night before. I do that for a few different reasons. The primary reason is so that I can get eyes on the water before the launch. And then based on the forecast, as long as the forecast is either improving or staying about the same, I'll have a pretty good idea of what to expect for the launch tomorrow morning. Seeing as how I like to get on point before sunrise, that means that I am launching while it's still dark. And one of the things that I encourage all of our guys to do is to, one, know the area, but even if you know the area, to make sure that you have eyes on before the actual launch. A really good example of this, of me failing to do this, was my last trip out of Kana. And it's actually a rather humorous story. So ultimately what happened is I decided it's a local launch. It's not too difficult. My wife had actually called Kana Resorts the day before, the evening before. And although I had two buddies tell me that it's a good launch, it's safe, you know, just go there, not a problem. When my wife told me that it was a resort beach, not that I was skeptical or hesitant, but I just wanted them to know out of, respect that I was coming, and, just to make sure that it was all right. And so I get there probably like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm setting up my kayak. I get it down to the beach by 5 o'clock in the morning, and put my wheels on my car and decide to go ahead and head on out. I hear no waves crashing, forecast was absolutely beautiful. There was nothing to be concerned about, nothing to be worried about. Well, I get out about 15-20 feet and I see a buoy. Okay, that's odd. And then I look, my eyes have kind of adjusted to the dark, and I see another buoy right beside it. And I look to the side of it, there's another buoy. I'm in the swimming area. I was in the swimming area. And so I had to turn around. I probably could have gone over it. Probably wasn't that big of a deal, but I decided to play it safe. So I went back to the beach. I brought up the rudder, brought up the pedal drive, the Mirage drive, I should say, and I looked at the fish finder, and it said about 0.8 meters, and I was like, oh, no big deal. I jump in, I'm well above my waist, not thinking, remembering it's still really early in the morning, and life jacket inflates. Not happy. With myself, obviously. And so, took the life jacket off, threw it in the kayak, and got the kayak to the outside of the swimming area, and then got in the kayak, launched outside of the swimming area, and then restuffed my life jacket. And it was a real it's not fun to do. Let me put it like that. Now the CO2 cartridge, it was spent. And so I had to go get another CO2 cartridge. And that's like a $30 mistake, so not great. So that's one reason that I like to get there the night before, especially if it's a new spot. I just like to have eyes on the beach, and I like to know what the obstacles are, what there is, especially if it is a new point. The second thing that I like to do is I like to get there the night before so that I can finalize all of my rigging. So tomorrow, I'm at Ikei right now, and last minute, it was a last minute change. I was not planning to do Ikei, and so I had actually had my electric reel rigged up on the Poseidon PSLJ4 for some jigging. I was planning on going to an area that was between 80 and 100 meters. Yuji-san, who invited me to go to Ikei with him tomorrow morning, told me that he was going to show me amberjack spot, Kampachi spot, in the 120-130 meter range. And so I decided to go ahead and set up my electric, not on the slow pitch jigging rod, but actually a rod that's a little bit stiffer. And what I'm going to try tomorrow is something that I've read is very effective for the amberjack, the ebing. Now, I've posted about the ebing in Fishing Okinawa. People find it very odd that you can catch very large tuna on such small plastics. So that's one of the things that I plan to be introducing tomorrow, especially for a lot of the stateside guys. I do plan to do the jigging. I actually have a jig that's also rigged up for the electric reel for high pitch, and the setup on it is not the same as regular high pitch or slow pitch jigging. The hook configuration is different for the electric. So tomorrow I do plan to do some slow pitch jigging. I plan to do electric jigging. I plan to do ebbing on the electric reel. And I also plan to, as first light's coming up, there is a Tamon spot, a Spangled Emperor spot that's very close to the launch. It's the channel that comes into this port has really good Tamon that come in for the morning bite. So I plan to do that first thing in the morning. And then as people start coming out, then I will head out to the deeper water and probably jig at the 60 meter mark, 80 meter mark, and then head out to the 120, 130, 130 meter mark. So that is tomorrow's plan. We have, I want to say 7, 8 guys planning to come out tomorrow. We decided to go ahead and split up into 2 groups from the Ikei launch. So I believe we have 4 or 5 launching from the point that I'm at right now, and then probably another 4 launching from a port that you can actually see from where I am. So kayak is set up, cooler is iced. I have 1 more beer to drink. It is 11:40 p.m. and be very soon going to bed, and so that I can wake up at around 4 o'clock in the morning to get all the rods set up on the kayak, kind of finalize, make sure, look over everything one more time, and then go park my car above so that I'm not on the boat ramp, and then launch in the morning. So until then, tight lines. Laters.
see the birds up there diving.
Yes, sir. 2130, he was saying, meters deep. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Some of the other guys are pulling bait, and I'm kind of just vibes. So.
Yeah, it's typically what I do.
How deep are you right now?
35 meters. 36.7. I don't. Close enough, right?
When you're blind, yeah, you're like, hey, it's 90. I'd be like, oh, okay, sweet. That's what I wanted to be.
Yeah, it's mostly sandy with some scattered rock rubble. Nothing. No significant bait balls. Nothing.
Nothing major.
Nah.
Saw a big on top over here earlier?
Yep. Yeah, I cast into them and I got a green jobfish, little one, so I threw him back. But
there's something decent size in there. Is that vibe going all the way to the bottom? And then...
yes,
Alright.
all the way. Kutenaji. Akajin. Akajin. Oh. Now that right there, that is a kuchinaji. That is a very good sized fish. So here's a wrasse, and he's gonna get thrown back. And it looks like he was almost somebody's shark bait or something just now. So actually I'm gonna drop him down just like this, and I'm gonna see if I can't get something to eat him. So I'm hoping he goes back down. And he is. And I'm hoping something big comes and chomps him, because that would be a lot of fun. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna go ahead and try to make my line vertical, because I know that this fish just wants to get down. And on my fish finder, I'll actually be able to see about what depth he's at. And what I'm gonna wanna do is put him about 5 to 10 meters off bottom. So he's actually sitting about 15 meters off bottom. I'm gonna let him go down. He's now 10 meters off bottom. And I'm gonna leave him right there. Let's see what happens. Hongo. So this one is Hungo Mibai. Hungo Mibai. Right. You can see a little parasites, especially on his backside. See it through the light. He's absolutely filled with them. That's a motor. Slow jerker 3?
Yeah.
Is it the Blue Heaven 30?
Yeah. And the shipwreck console and the Abyss.
Hmm. Ah,
230. Okay.
よかった。
Thank you.
うん。うん。イェーイ。
楽しかった。ライダー。
はいはいはいはい。I think so.
Yeah.
The jig. I'm using small one.
Tungsten?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not biting the because of the big
Bigger is
size,
better.
Bait ball. Yeah.
Okay.
Necessary to the agricultural.
Alright, so what I was just working on is a ebbing rig, and what it is, what I am using is a electric reel. This is the Forcemaster 1000. I have it hooked up to an external lithium battery here so that it doesn't interfere with my fish finder. I switched out to a stiffer rod last night for the ebbing. I have my wire here and then a jig attached to the middle with a split ring, and then about 15 feet of a much larger leader. And so what I'm going to do is first make sure that my fish finder my reel gets battery power, which it does, and then up there at the end. Okay, so I'm going to go and drop this. Now, this here, I probably shouldn't leave that hanging in the water. Hopefully a wahoo doesn't come by because that could be bad. This here is a nice large circle hook, and then I'm going to take a worm, such as this orange one. I'll put that on there. I'm going to do that. Put these back together. Now, make sure that nothing is tangled up. That looks good. And then go to drop. Now, what I'm going to do is let this touch bottom. For this, I'm not worried about keeping the line vertical. I actually want it out a little bit in front of me, or if I didn't have the spanker, then off to my side because I'll be pushing sideways. I'll let this touch bottom. I'll bring it up using the pickup function. I'll bring it up about 20 meters. I'm going to try different speeds and see what happens. I'm going to start out with high speed first. So I'm at 112 right now, and I have 122 meters of line. So I've never done this with amberjack before, so I'm just gonna play around with different methods of retrieval, and if I get lucky, then maybe that means that I was doing something right. Minute 25 up. 86. Now 80.5. Oh wow. There's a nice cluster about 5 meters off bottom. Hey, yeah, bottom.
Going back.
Oh!
Okay! Alright.
Feels like rock. くそ赤10Oh! Come on! Got that! Woo! Woohoo!
Nice. Want a picture with it?
Right there.
So I was like, I'll take a picture. And I was like, he's loaded.
Hey everybody. So this is just a recap of the trip. I appreciate Peter for suggesting that. I do agree the last video kind of ended abruptly, and some closure would have been nice. So, first of all, distance. We went an extremely long ways today. When I very first started going out to Ikei, I decided that I was going to find a point at the 100-meter mark. And my buddy went off to go throw the vibe, Okie gulls, and I went to go find deeper water. He lost sight of me. I went out there, I went a really long ways, I caught a really nice oxygen. I called him on the radio, and I said, dude, I just caught a really nice oxygen. He's like, where, Tokyo? Because he lost sight of me. I went out like a really long ways. And so we've called that spot Tokyo ever since. Well, the gentleman who invited me today, Yuji, he wanted to introduce me to some amberjack kenpachi spots out at Ikei at the 2:32:40 mark. And he had a late start. He was visiting Okinawa group members as they were arriving to the port. And so I was out throwing the vibe. And once I caught that kuchinaji, I sent Yuji a message and asked him where we should meet. He took a picture of his screen and the GPS coordinates, and I inputted on my fish finder, and lo and behold, it was Tokyo. Fast forward 4 hours or so, we've doubled the distance of Tokyo. We got out to Tokyo, we dropped, brought him in. Yuji was like, let's go deeper. Dropped, brought him in, and we just kept on doing that and doing that. And before I knew it, the two buddies that were with me, they had gone in, and Yuji and I were by ourselves out there, way out there. He showed me some amazing spots. I'm sure that wintertime they are just going to be loaded with fish. That's when the deep jigging gets a little bit better. So I'm excited to have been introduced to those points. Now last night when I was making the video, I said that I was going to try the electric jigging and the ebbing. If the videos turned out all right of that, then I will put them in the video. The electric jigging I gave up on fairly quickly. I used it when I got tired, and that's about it. Electric jigging I usually save for when I am jigging at 160 meters or greater. And in all honesty, at the depth that we were at and as slow as the drift was today, electric jigging, it did not feel right. I might have been doing it wrong, but it didn't feel right. The ebbing, if it turned out in the video, I'll put it in there as well. But when I tried the ebbing, the hook actually wrapped around the weight, and once that happened, I decided that I was done trying to do that. About a year ago, I was with a captain out of Ata port, and my leader had wrapped around itself. And what I had done is, from the main line to the wire, I had like 110-pound leader on there, and then from the wire to the hook I had like 60-pound on there, with the idea being that I was only going to be targeting the schoolies and not necessarily a large tuna. And the 50-pound had wrapped around, or the 60-pound had wrapped around the 110. And the captain had said, no, you can't do that. The leaders actually have to be the same diameter, otherwise they're going to wrap. And I had forgotten about that. And when I brought that ebbing rig in, the hook had wrapped around the jig, and I was reminded of that. The thing is, the leader from the wire to the hook I was using was unknown. It definitely felt thicker than 60-pound, and the main line to the wire was 40-pound. And I didn't feel like re-rigging all of that and wasting time fishing, so I gave up on that. I'll try it again in deeper water, I believe, once winter comes back around. Now, recap for the fish for today. I kept 4, I believe. I kept a small Okinawa. I kept a kuchinaji. That was a really nice kuchinaji. The lyre tail, I would have thrown him back, but all 4 hooks were in him and he was pretty ripped up. And then the prize of the day was the tamon. And I'm going to finish talking about how I caught that tamon. In the video, I hope you noticed that I was not doing any type of action on the jig whatsoever. I was actually messing around with a rod holder, and the jig was actually just sitting there. The reason that I bring this up is because, from what I've read, from what I've been told, I don't remember where I learned it from, but that is how slow pitch jigging was actually discovered. Toto Sensei, the gentleman who invented slow pitch jigging, as the story that I was told, he was on a boat and he was helping his friend, and he had put his rod in the rod clip, and the jig was just bouncing with the action of the boat, and a fish hit it. And nobody else was really catching fish, and so he thought this very odd, that because everyone was either doing speed jigging or using bait, and nobody was really catching fish. And so he thought to himself, there's something to this. And so he started experimenting with just letting the jig sit there. And the action of the boat rocking in the swells was actually enough action on the jig to entice the bite. And so that was how he discovered slow pitch jigging. The reason why I bring this up, and the reason why it's so important, is in a few videos, or to somebody, I have said in the past, that's not how you do slow pitch jigging, do this. And that is wrong. Whenever I am in my right state of mind, I tell people, now these are the rules for slow pitch jigging. You do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. Now ignore all those rules. And ultimately, slow pitch jigging is what you make of it, and it's what's working. There's so many variables whenever you're doing the slow pitch jigging. You change your jig, you change the length of your assist hooks, you change the size of the hooks. Instead of using a power 2 rod, you use a power 4 rod, but everything else must remain the same. And with slow pitch jigging, ultimately what you're doing is you're changing one variable at a time until you figure out what it is that the fish, what it is for the presentation that the fish wants. And that's what I love about slow pitch jigging. It's that discovery of it on each trip, trying to figure it out. So I do hope that you enjoyed watching the video. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. Unfortunately for me, I am going back to work starting this past Friday, so videos are not going to be posted as often as they were coming out. If the weather is cooperating on the weekends, then obviously I'm going to be out on the water, and I will definitely be recording and making those videos hopefully on a weekly basis. So again, if you haven't already, please subscribe so that when I post those videos, they come out. And I do appreciate you watching. Tight lines, and see you on the next one. Bye.